Does anyone have a question?
Hey, Stuart, I have a question.
Yes, Helen.
Why is it so difficult to see a true image of oneself? And that
Well,
question, why is it so difficult to see a true image of oneself? And that question arose from reading your article back in 2014 called "The Mirror." It's a great story. So I thought that would make an interesting conversation because I find that I get stuck in that sort of
Mirror is a short story I wrote.
that's it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a very interesting story. Uh, Look, people have been asking the same question for 10,000 years now. You know? I don't know why, Helly. Other than each human being's greatest mystery lies inside themselves. Much greater mystery than what exists out in the universe and exploring the universe, finding out, truly the roots of everything that has created us and what has created this person who lives every day, and why it should be such a mystery. I don't understand. I have to be honest, I don't understand. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, because being a mystery, and if you have a need to explore that mystery, it will uncover great knowledge, great wisdom, your connection with infinite energy in the universe, because all of that exists inside. So maybe the mystery is such that uh, we we're not supposed to find out why. We're just supposed to keep exploring it and learning from it and growing from it and understanding somewhere inside ourselves that the only perfection in the universe is the perfection of God, spirit, higher energy. And if we try to understand it, we try to make perfection out of it, and we can't. And being imperfect and being something that is outside the realm of human understanding, it's something that constantly sparks exploration inside yourself, wonderment inside yourself, opening to new levels of knowledge and wisdom, understanding, and it's endless. It's endless. And one of the great miracles is we can never understand it. And never understanding it is an intriguing element, because human beings want to understand everything. So you keep working on yourself, getting closer, and meanwhile, this vast universe of knowledge, of wisdom, opens inside and ultimately gets one closer to a state of enlightenment. That short story is about that. It's so funny. This guy becomes invisible and everybody sees him, but he can't see himself. I mean, it's such a great truth, no matter where he goes, everybody sees him, but he can't see himself. He's invisible to himself. And anyway, I think this is not a problem. I think this is something wonderful. And it's something that keeps people endlessly exploring what's infinite in the universe, instead of eventually arriving at a place where they understand and everything is perfect and it all becomes static and nothing moves anymore and there's no more inner growth. So I wouldn't worry about that. Just understand that your life is going to be an exploration of the unknown. And the deeper you go inside yourself, the more unknown it is, but the more you uncover wisdom, knowledge of an extraordinary nature, of what exists inside every human being. And then you don't worry about these things. I stopped worrying about understanding me a million years ago. I really did. I just said one day, Stu, it's impossible. So explore what the chakra system opens inside you. Let it become part of your consciousness. Let it become of your inner growth. You understand? And then life becomes an incredible adventure. And you don't have to go anywhere to have this. You don't have to go to the Arctic to have this adventure. It's inside. And the only thing that stops us is ourselves. We create, oh my God, we create the blocks. We create the resistance. We create all of this stuff that keeps us from endlessly exploring the wealth and the treasures that exist inside each and every one of us. Does anyone else have is that clear? I hope. Yeah. Does anyone else? Wait, where did you find that story? I didn't know I had it anyway.
It was January of 2014.
On my website?
Yeah, NYC,
Yeah, New York City Moments.
New York City, yeah, and it was titled The Mirror. Fantastic story.
Yeah, it's wonderful. In the lineage of Gogol and Kafka and those guys, who wrote stories like that. Does anyone else have a question? I have a whole book of short stories. They're wonderful stories, these books, the stories in that book. Well, 200 pages of short stories. That's in that book called New York City Moments, which has never been published, should be published, but have never been published. Does anyone else have a question? I mean, that's what I'm talking about, exploring your inner self. You never know what you're going to come up with and what talents you have and how this unknown quantity, serves you and enables you to create things in life that are truly amazing by the exploration of the inner world of oneself. And then it manifests in your life. Creative things start happening. That story came out of that, How the hell, I don't even know how I write these things. They just come. Does anyone else have a question you would like to?
Stuart, I have a question, Bob Sink.
Yes, Bob.
How is courage an important component of exploring the unknown?
I spent a half hour, or maybe 20 minutes, talking in the class this afternoon about being a spiritual warrior. You have to have guts to have a spiritual life. You have to have courage because you never know what's going to come up and you never know what part of yourself has to be slain. And it takes an enormous amount of courage to look in the mirror and confront yourself. That's why courage is essential. I mean, there's a wonderful Tibetan statue of a bodhisattva, Manjushri, where he has a sword, and it's the sword of knowledge that slays all of the blocks and all the bodhisattva, slaying all the blocks. And I mean, a true person that wants a spiritual life has to be a warrior. You have to have that sense of yourself. You're willing to struggle and fight whatever battle you come up against inside and overcome that internal block. And it requires guts, it requires courage. You can't look, oh my God, look at me, and I'm a weakling, I'm a this. You have to have the courage to transform all that stuff into something that helps you grow every day. But it takes guts. I mean, I had a 20-minute talk on this today. I really mean it. Should go to that. I mean, it's probably on Facebook or somewhere like that, YouTube. So uh, the hardest person to confront in this world is ourselves. Ourselves. And yet, every time we look out at life, we look into a mirror of ourselves. We're able to point out everything wrong with other people. When it comes to ourselves, it's a total mystery of what is wrong inside. And yet, if you do deep inner work, it always surfaces. And whether or not you have that sort of wisdom to slay the dragons determines whether or not you're going to get a state of enlightenment. You're going to have a spiritual life. So yes, courage is a very important element. Qi gives you courage. Developing qi gives you the strength to slay the internal dragons. And as I've said many times, it's like a fairy tale, It's like a knight confronting a dragon. You have to slay the dragon because there's a pot of gold on the other side or a damsel in distress. They're like fairy tales. But these fairy tales are metaphors for what goes on inside a human being when one truly penetrates the depth inside themselves. Does anyone else have a question?
Stuart, I have a second question.
Yes.
You speak about slaying the dragon, and which becomes metaphorically a bloody mess. Is there another way to speak about this? Another way that doesn't involve a bloody mess?
Well, look, you can slay the dragon by opening your heart, Bob. Okay? And that's not a bloody mess. That's the way of slaying the dragon. Open your heart, develop the capacity for unconditional love inside yourself. I mean, slaying the dragon is a metaphor, but there's a lot of ways to do it. You don't have to start a war with yourself. It's not, I mean, love is the best way to slay the dragon. An open heart. I mean, that's the best way. The slaying of the dragon is a metaphor. That's all. How you do it, that's another story. And I think the best way to do it is unconditional love. Instead of beating yourself up, love yourself unconditionally. You'll slay the dragon.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.
And I should also say there's a lot of hidden gems at that website, like Hallie found.
Well, I don't know what
Tons of
you're talking about, Bo, but you have to speak again. Go ahead.
talking about the hidden gems that exist at your website, and Hallie found it because she explored, and there's a lot. Believe me, I've been working on that website for decades. There's a lot of gems in there and worth exploring.
Well, I hope you all explore it. It's true. Look, that whole book, Tantra's there, It's a little different now. I changed a lot of the photographs and because of what I found out about the Met. And they have this eminent domain, or, they have this public domain thing. You can use objects from their collection. It's free of charge. So, I've been writing these things for years. I mean, that story you read, I didn't even know it was there, I mean, I don't know, there might be other ones. That collection of short stories is pretty interesting. But I don't know. If anybody knows a publisher, I have a great collection of short stories I would like to publish. Does anyone else have I have one announcement. There's one spot open for my birthday retreat. If you happen to be mulling over whether or not to come, I would suggest make a decision. There's one place open now. So it should be a very wonderful weekend. It always is. And I hope if you can make it, try and make it, Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, then there'll be a meditation on tomorrow, Monday. And thank you. God bless you all. I say it every night. I'm sure you're probably tired of hearing of it, but I will say it again. God bless you and thank you. You are here. Your presence here is an amazing thing because for me, it makes me really work on myself. Go very deep. And I'm hoping that it makes you do the same thing. My job is to give away everything I've learned in my life. That's my job. And I need people who want to take it. That's really what I'm here to do. I'm not getting any younger, and God knows how much longer I'm going to be around here, and I can't gotta give it away. Okay, if there are no more questions, thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.
Good night, Stuart. Thank you.
Bye.